everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to Board Game Breakfast. This is the week of the biggest convention in board gaming, or at least one of the big two, and that is Gen Con. Indianapolis, Indiana, and we are going to Gen Con full bloom. Now, so are 60 to 70,000 other people, so there's a good chance if you're watching this video, you may be going. If you are, we'd love to see you. Stop by our booth. It's 2835. I said earlier that we'd have a sign over our booth. That's not actually going to be happening. Sorry. But we do want you to come by the booth for several reasons. One, to come by and say hi to us. All the Dice Tower staff. I'll be there. Eric Summerer, Z Garcia, Sam Healy, Suzanne Sheldon, Mandy Hutchinson, many other folks. Several contributors from Board Game Breakfast are going to be there. Some of the reviewers from the Dice Tower. Some of the people behind the scenes from the Dice Tower will be there. So it's a good chance to meet us. If you want to say hi to us, that's your chance to do it. If you want to know when we'll be there, I might put up a little schedule at some point on our guild at Board Game Geek that says exactly when we'll be at the different spots. But a good rule of thumb is if you want to see the main folks from the Dice Tower, you can come by and see us the first hour and last hour of each day. Another reason to come by the booth is because you have a chance to win something. Come roll dice in our mega dice tower and maybe you'll win a prize. Also, we have a free promo for Good Critters, which is coming out from Arcane Wonders. And there's a coupon in the coupon book. Bring that by and get one of those. And then we have lots of different promos that you can see and get and help support the Dice Tower by picking those up. And then finally, if you bought some new games at the convention and you want a few plastic bags like these to store your stuff in, stop by. We'll have some for you. Not a ton, but you can get a few for your new games that you just bought. So really, we'd like you to come by. We're doing a live show at 2 o'clock this Friday at the show, the Dice Tower Live. So we want you to come by there with some pretty big announcements for the Dice Tower. If you're watching this and saying, I'm not going to be at Gen Con, well, at least you'll see all the announcements for the different publishers will probably be online very close to after the show. And our own announcement, we'll have a little video up explaining that just shortly after the show also. So you're not going to really miss out on anything there. Either way, if you see us at the convention, please feel free to stop us and say hi. We're there to see you. Well, part of the reason we're there is definitely to see you guys, and we would just love to say hi to you. I don't think we will be able to play many games while there. You never know, but probably doubtful. But at the very least, we want to thank you for enjoying and listening and watching our show. So that's Gen Con, right? But the good news is this, folks. If you're here, we have a full slate of stuff that's going up this week. Lots of different reviews and things. I'm very excited about some of the stuff that we're going to be doing. So let's get started, though, first of all, with the very, very, very interesting news. Okay, so first of all, in the news, GMT, maker of many different war games, has announced a deal with Playdeck. Probably the premier, or at least one of the premier folks who make stuff for the iPad and Android. And so we're going to start seeing GMT games. Now, this is intriguing to me because GMT games are often more complex. The first game they're doing is Labyrinth, which I know is complex because I've played it. Was kind of a sequel to Twilight Struggle, but about the war on terror and things. And they announced that they're going to be doing Imperial Struggle next year, which is one of the Coin series. And I'm again, this is something where I'm going, maybe I will then delve into these games utilizing these because there's a lot of rules, but if the app can handle these rules, that's an interesting concept for me. Renegade has announced Deluxe Arboretum. This game, which already was a very, very pretty game, now will come with foil cards and a nice box and everything, and this is being released at Gen Con. In big, giant, nothing news, we have Asmodee is in the talks of being sold from Eurazeo to Pi Partners. What does that mean? Well, initially, really nothing. It's one big investment firm who bought Asmodee for the low, low price of a couple $100 million and sold it now for the very low, low price of $1 billion or so. And then this new company is probably going to do the same. They're going to take Asmodee and try to make it bigger and better and sell it to somebody else. They said that they keep their companies for around 4 to 6 years. They had a big, long press release where they talked about a whole bunch of stuff, barely mentioned the word games at all. But they sound like they're going to keep the infrastructure the same, and that Asmodee for the next several years will continue its growing by buying up other companies. So we'll have to see. Plaid Hat has announced Comanauts. Now, this is a game I'm very interested in. It's from Jerry Hawthorne, and in it, there's a scientist who has both cause to help the world and destroy the world with a singularity or whatever, and he's in a coma for whatever reason. You are a team of scientists going inside his head, fighting his inner demons, and figuring out and, getting help from him. This game looks like it is a direct sequel to Stuffed Fables. Not a direct sequel, but in the very same game with pages and going through, and it looks like the same system, but for adults, obviously. So a lot of people are going to really like that. The Spiel des Jahres nominees were announced. This is always like late news here for Board Game Breakfast because I always record these early, and the Spiel des Jahres nominees are announced just a few hours before Board Game Breakfast goes up. So this is a week-old news. But they were announced, and the big winner is Azul, which is not a huge surprise. It's the one I predicted would win and should win. A game that just is really just blowing around. I mean, it was already been selling tons and tons and tons. They announced it sold like 310,000. Well, now it's guaranteed to sell 500,000. So go figure. For the Kenner Spiel, the more in-depth gamer games, we have Quacksalber von Quellenberg. This one is one I have not played yet. Of all the awards, it's the only one I haven't played yet, but a lot of people played it and told me it's good. Dragon's Breath won the Kinderspiel. We already knew that. And then Pandemic Legacy Season 2 got like a special award, basically for just all the stuff that Pandemic has done, or the Legacy series. John Wick Presents is coming out with a game called Sweet Jenny. I don't know how sweet she is. I think she's a pirate. This is from the 7th Sea world, and it's a little card game in there. It's not the 7th Sea card game per se. I think it's just a straight-up card game. But still, it's interesting to see this. It's not their RPG, but a card game. Pandasaurus has announced that they'll be bringing both Illusion and Quanto. I think both of these games have already been printed, so these new versions will be coming to America. Here's some news Half Pint Heroes has announced that they're going to be doing Half Pint Heroes Happy Day. This is a legacy game with stickers on the cards and all that. This is like a game that hasn't really got any buzz at all. I saw this and looked interesting. Z, I think, reviewed it on our channel. Sure, and now it's going to be doing a legacy version. Well, there you go. I don't know what else to say. Pegasus is working with Games Workshop to do Talisman Legendary Tales. This is not Talisman as far as I can tell. It's a different game. Looks like there's dice involved. Has some pretty good designers on board. It's being released at Gen Con. It's being released this week, so we'll have to wait and see. Matago has a new expansion for ISIS. Inish. This is the Seasons of Inish. It's going to add a 5th player, more stuff. This sleeper hit that Matago did seems to be getting more and more fans all the time. All right, then crushing the news this week from one company is CMON. First of all, we have Wacky Races. This is a game which is based on the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons of Wacky Races. The Slag Brothers, the Gruesome Twosome, Dastardly, and Muttley are getting there messing up, and it's just a silly racing style game. Wow. That brings back memories. I like those cartoons. This is not a IP I expected to see a game based about. Then they have announced Munchkin Dungeon. Now this is a co-design between Eric Lang and Andrea Chiavesio, he's one of the designers of Kingsburg. And so this is not Munchkin. It's using the Munchkin art and everything. It's more of a push your luck, go in and fight monsters or maybe run from monsters. I don't know. Looks interesting. Eric helped design the Munchkin CCG, which is very different from Munchkin, so maybe this will be along the same lines. Then we have the Zombicide role-playing game, or ZRPG. This is designed by the same guys who designed War of the Ring, and it's going to be using some of the rules from Zombicide, I guess, for combat and such, but there's also a game master, and you're fighting and going through levels and things like that. This looks like Walking Dead, the cover here a little bit. The picture, wow, this is not something I expected to see, but I bet a lot of people are interested in. And then the news of the week, for sure, Project Elite. is being reprinted by CMON. Project Elite is one of my favorite games. I love it. It's a cooperative game where you are a bunch of space marines going through and just blowing aliens all over the place as wave after hordes of aliens are coming through and attacking you. The worst part about Project Elite, the miniatures are awful. I mean, just awful. And I mean, I like the game despite that. Now that CMON's going to be printing it, then you know the miniatures aren't going to be awful anymore. I've known about this for a long time. I am thrilled about this, super excited to see this. They're going to be kickstarting it later this year, and it will be coming out next year. I cannot recommend this game enough. I'm sure there's a lot of other news that will be coming out this week. Fantasy Flight usually announces a whole pile of stuff this week, so we'll talk about that next week, and I know about a couple other fantastic announcements, which we'll talk about in our news next week. Well, that's it for the regular news. Let's jump to Kickstarter.
Happy Gen Con week, and Gen Can't week, of course. With the big show this week, I feel like Kickstarter is a little slower than usual, but I definitely still have a few great projects to highlight, including one of my annual favorites, and a project that uses my favorite mechanism. So let's take a look. Brotherwise Games, who also brought us Boss Monster, is offering Call to Adventure. This character and story building game has you playing cards to build a character, cast runes to face challenges, with decisions driving you towards an ending, whether it be good or evil. Each game you start with a mix of origin, motivation, and destiny. Traits use a bit of set collection to fulfill, and challenges require the luck of the runes, which determine your outcome. And you can add more runes to go with newly gained abilities as you continue. Additionally, Brotherwise partnered with Patrick Rothfuss to release a Name of the Wind expansion that pulls in the story and plot elements of those beloved books. You can get the base game of Call to Adventure for $40 plus shipping, or for $55 plus shipping, you can get the base game and that Name of the Wind expansion. Sabotage is a hidden movement and deduction game with some roll and write style mechanisms by Tim Fowers. In Sabotage, two teams play against each other. The villains try to take over the world with a doomsday device, while the spies work to shut that device down without getting caught. Dice are used to program actions which are written, and movement and location, well, they're tracked on a more traditional game board. And both teams have access to gadgets to add extra abilities as you go. And there's a whole set of advanced abilities as well to mix up gameplay. If you don't have a full player count, there's also the option to play against a mobile app as if it were your opponent, and the game box transforms into a player shield. Sabotage features wonderful art by Ryan Goldsberry, and you can get a copy of the game for $59 plus shipping. Atlantis Island of Gods is a hand management and set collection game in which priests are trying to build monuments to the gods, hopefully before the island's doom, in the hopes of being spared. Each player receives a deity card which determines what structures you must build and in which of the 4 regions. Actions are largely card-driven, in which players can move, build monuments, tear down structures, and use region special abilities by playing cards that match a region's color. Atlantis Island of the Gods includes modular miniatures for the monuments that can be stacked up in different combos to meet your building goals. A copy of Atlantis Island of Gods takes a pledge of $29 plus shipping. And last but not least, Scott King is back with another gaming calendar. Each year, Scott adds more photos to the huge collection currently available, which can also be purchased as prints. This year's new images include games like the Spiel winner Azul and Kennerspiel Nam Ganshan Clever, as well as beautiful images of game components like dice and meeples. For $24 plus shipping, you can get this standard calendar that includes gaming conventions and geek celebration days. Or for $35, you can get a custom calendar that allows you to select 12 photos from the over 300 to choose from, and you get to add up to 4 custom holidays as well. Alrighty, that's all I've got for you this episode. Hopefully something caught your eye. And this is going to be my first Gen Con ever. I'm super excited, but also a little bit nervous. So if you're attending Gen Con 2, please stop by the Dice Tower booth and say hi, because I think I will definitely be welcoming friendly faces there. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.
Hey there everyone, I'm Jen, the board game librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes, and I was special guest this week.
Brian Raditz from Time Machine and The Portal in Manchester.
So I've talked a lot about gaming in libraries, and I've been super fortunate over the past
It's
3
been a while.
years. Has it been 3 years already? To have Brian's help. So if you could tell us a little more about how we work together and just partnership as an FLGS too.
Yeah, no, I know, because when you started up, you came in, approached me about doing something that could really build on the community in town, right?
Yep.
And it kind of worked from there. Initially, we set up a few games that we wanted to focus on, have demos, and a few people ready to teach those games. We would come as a store, have those available for people to kind of browse through, and then we would just go through. I'd help teach, you'd teach, and we'd be kind of working off of that. I know as it built on, there was like a solid community that would play there, and then a lot of people kind of crossed over with our store as well. So it was a good mix for that.
Yeah, and building off of what Brian just said too, I think the wonderful part of having your support for the group has been, that you already have a built-in community, and then the community that we've built, there's been a lot of cross-pollination too, and that we're not necessarily hitting the same gamers in both places, even though we're both in Manchester, maybe a mile and a half, 2 miles from each other. So if you are an FLGS out there and you're approached by a library, what would you say is your best recommendation or advice?
Yeah, no, I mean, whatever you can do to support it. I know it's great having you as the person to contact, because you kind of take charge and you're doing most of that groundwork. We definitely want to help where we can, and it's been a great thing to build on that group that goes there.
Yeah, that's all for this week. Thanks again to Brian. You can check him out with the Portal podcast as part of the Dice Tower Network, and we'll see you next week.
Greetings and welcome to the Mega Meeple. I am Thomas Grogan and Gen Con. Yay! I'm not going, but that's okay. I'm still going to put together a top 10 of my most anticipated games on Gen Con. I'll be putting that out on my YouTube channel this week. You go to the links are on the Mega Meeple website, along with all of our also other social media crap. I want to touch base on a game that I don't have to anticipate because I already got it. This game, by Starting Games Everdale, has been getting some rave reviews, and most deservedly so. This is a game, Everdale, by James Wilson. This is a game that, at its surface, it's nice to look at, but there's a lot of stuff under the hood, too. This is a really well done, orchestrated, and crafted, it's basically a worker placement, resource management, tableau building game where you are basically building a city at the base of the Evertree, playing cards, the synergy and mechanics behind the cards, and how certain cards give rise and opportunities for other cards to be played. There's not direct head-to-head combat, but there are opportunities for you to do a take-that type of thing. You're able to play cards that will minus points from another player's cities at the end of the game. If you know a particular strategy that other player's going to do, you could steal a card away from them before they get it, or block their path to get certain resources. But this game is going to be available at Gen Con for sale. I strongly encourage you to check it out when you're there, or if you're there. And thank you so much for watching, and have a fun time at Gen Con, and safe travels.
Hey guys, and welcome to Tantrum House HQ. I'm Will Meadows.
I'm Larry the Intern, and today on the Throwdown, we've got Monster Match from North Star Games in the blue corner.
And we've got Nut So Fast from Smirk and Laughter in the red corner. Nut So Fast is a dexterity party game that has players revealing 2 cards from their deck each turn. If at any time 4 of the symbols on their cards match, players have to race to grab the matching nut from the table. Cards may also reveal actions that the players have to take, or if 7 of a kind are revealed, the race is on for the almond. Players have to stay on their toes because if they are the last player to take the action, or if they jump the gun and grab something they're not supposed to, all of the active cards get moved to the bottom of their deck. And at the end of the game, the player with the fewest cards in their deck wins.
Monster Match is a dice-rolling, card-poking party game. Players take turns rolling the dice and then trying to find a monster that matches what was rolled. If players are able to find a monster card and get their finger on it first, it gets added to their collection. If no monster matches what was rolled, then players have to race to touch the Zilch token. Every time the Zilch token is touched, 10 new monster cards come out on the table. When the deck is emptied, players count up the number of donuts their monster card shows, and the players with the most donuts wins.
All right, so we're looking at 2 different dexterity party games. Not So Fast plays 3 to 6 players.
Monster Match, as many people in your party as you want.
This game plays in about 20 minutes.
This one could take up to 20 minutes, but really could go a lot shorter.
One of the nice things about this game is that there's a lot of different things going on, which is a lot more fun and really cool, but it probably means your age count is a little bit higher. This is more of an adult game. Kids could play, but the strategy is a little bit heavier.
This one's for kids of all ages, 5 to 95. You just have to focus on dice rolling, and that's pretty much it.
This one of the coolest things is the replayability, because you've got those different motions that come out each time that you have to do, so it kind of creates a lot more fun every time. Your cards are never going to flip the same. Lots of different variety.
I love the fact that this comes in a cool neoprene pouch. That's my favorite.
Let us know which one is you guys' favorites by commenting in the comments below. And then be sure to subscribe to Tantrum House for more great throwdowns just like this.
This is a game which involves tanks. Who doesn't like tanks? And there's also infantry, soldiers. It's called Tank on Tank, and there's a series on these games. Published by Lock and Load, designed by Peter Bogdasarian. You get 60 1-inch counters, 2 double-sided maps, 14 scenarios, and a player aid card. Okay, let's look at this piece. This piece is called a chit, right? So you have a tank. The first number is how far he can shoot, 3 hexes away. The second number is his defense. Basically, your opponent rolls 2d6s, adds it up and compares it to that. And the third number is how far you can move per turn. That's it. What's fun and different about this game is that your opponent draws from a cup the amount of action points you will be allowed to do, but you don't know how many action points you got. He knows. When you surpass that, he tells you to stop, and that's it. If he pulls a chit that has 2 action points, you move, you shoot, that's your turn. Tank on Tank, West Front. 2-player games, solos very well, published by Lock and Load. Invaders from Dimension X, a game designed by Herman Lettman, published by Tiny Battle Publishing. This is a solitaire game with a 2-player variant. This sci-fi war game pits you against the alien invaders called Chaots. So the way this game works is that in a given scenario, 1 of 2, the alien units are placed on the map at the beginning of the game, and you have to make it from point A to point B. So when you enter the map and you've done your turns, the aliens are activated. The way the aliens are activated is random by pulling a chit from a cup, giving you one of 12 possibilities of actions. One action might be something called a drop pod, where aliens drop from the skies and squish you. The way to win this game is you gotta get your predetermined units from point A to point B, and also cancel the Chaos mission, because obviously the aliens are here for a reason. Designed by Herman Lettman, published by Tiny Battle Publishing. For more information on Wargame news, visit No Enemies Here. Thank you very much. See you next week.
Alright, so in Dice Tower Productions this week, like I said, we're not slowing down because Gen Con is here, so you'll still see the week in review, and you'll see a lot of different reviews that are going up over the course of this week. The biggest review probably is The Reckoners, which I'll be putting up tomorrow, so you can see that, but I'm also taking a look at Lost City Rivals, the new expansion, well not new I guess, but some expansions for Vast, and just some various different games. Gunki Mino is going up, I think, in a few days. So there's a lot of different reviews. Some of them are games that are being released this week at Gen Con. Some of them are games that have just been released. And then I got a couple older ones, too, to throw in the mix. So hopefully you enjoy that. Stuff coming from Sam and Z also. If you missed it, we've done a lot of different videos talking about Gen Con and things you should check out at Gen Con that we put out last week. So there's that. And another top 10 went up last week. So you can keep an eye on that. I'll be doing a live Q&A some point today. Because of us getting ready from Gen Con, I'll be doing it from my house. Maybe I'll get one or so of my daughters to join me on that one. That might be fun. And as we get ready to go to Gen Con. So that's all stuff you can look forward to this week. You might see some blogging and stuff from Gen Con, but the biggest thing is check out our Instagram. That's Dice Tower. On our Instagram channel, we're going to be posting a lot of pictures and things from Gen Con, so keep an eye on that. All right, well, let's keep moving.
Howdy folks, welcome to By the Numbers. My name is Hunter Thomason from the Family Showdown. On each episode of By the Numbers, we take a look at a board game numeric related topic. This week's topic, justifying the cost of buying board games. On a recent Q&A, Mr. Sam Healy compared the cost of buying board games to the cost of an outing of his family to the movie theater. I personally have used that same exact reasoning to justify the expense of all these board games. So let's take a look at the math. Then I went out to the Board Game Geek site, looked at the top 20 games listed there, and compared their prices on cool stuff to get an average, and I found out the average of the board games is slightly under $60 each. So let's do the math. So, the games cost $60 each. The average movie ticket is $9. For 3 people, that'd be $27. The average length of a movie is 2 hours. So that's approximately $13.50 per hour for those movie viewers. You take that $60 average for those games and divide it by that $13.50 per hour of entertainment value you get out of movies, and you find that it takes about 4.44, repeating of course, hours to get the equivalent value out of board games as you do visiting a movie theater to watch a movie. So you take that 4.44 hours divided by the average play session of 2.5 hours, and you find that you need to take 1.78 game sessions to play of a game to equate it to the visit to a movie theater. As you can see, board games are great value when it comes to your entertainment dollars. Only thing I have to do now is figure out what 600 movies I didn't watch to buy these board games.
Hello everyone, my name's Annette, and you may know me as Netters Plays. And today on Applied Mechanics, I'm going to go over the game of Wendake. So Wendake is not a simple game, it's a complex game with a lot of different mechanisms. However, my favorite part is the action selection part. So let me show you a little bit about that and why I really like it. In Wendake, you have a lot going on. You have area control along with set collection, resource management. However, the main drive is on your player board. On your turn, you'll be able to take any one of these actions by placing your marker on a tile. On your second turn, you're going to be limited to what actions you can take because you can only follow either horizontally, vertically, or diagonally from that first action marker. On your third action, you have no other choice but to follow the line that you've already made and to do the action on that tile. When all players have taken their actions and figured out turn order, then these markers are placed back. Any tiles that were chosen are then flipped. All of these tiles will then be shifted down. Any of the 3 tiles that were dropped off the grid are then replaced by an advanced tile of your liking. You'll be able to shuffle these up and then place them up top. Then you'll move on to the next round. You can take any action on the board by placing your marker on it and just ensure that you're following down a line. So there's a lot going on in this game, and I only scratched the surface. But I showed you my favorite part, which is the action selection. You have that grid which is randomized in the beginning. It's different from every other player, and it's always changing every round. There's a lot of planning going on in this game because every time you take an action, you have to figure out what your next action could be based on that line that you're drawing. This grid and the actions that you're taking by drawing these lines is what drives the game. There's also a variety of actions that you'll be able to take every round because tiles will be shuffled, replaced, or even flipped. And that's why I really enjoy this game. Well, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Two brothers set loose in a thrift store. This is Thrift Store Throwbacks.
Hello, welcome to the 7 p.m. news. I'm Justin Case. Today's top story, where in the USA is Carmen Sandiego? No one in the world can find her. She's been lost.
Found her.
Forever. What?
Carmen, I found her.
You found her?
Yeah. Are you live?
Yeah, hi.
Hey.
Where'd you find her? Where is she?
She's at Gen Con.
She's at Gen Con?
Yeah, she got there early. She just checked in on Facebook.
She checked in on Facebook?
Yeah, it's weird. She's like always like, where am I? You'll never find me. But then she's just like, on Instagram you see like in Albuquerque. So yeah.
So I guess technology's really brought her down. Wow.
So what are you gonna do for the news now?
I don't know. Find a story about cats or something. What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna play Feast for Odin.
Oh, send me a spot. I'll do the cat thing real quick.
All right. Hi. Looks like there was an accident on the 134.
Oh, okay. Accident on 134. And can cats read your mind? All right, let's get this over with. This is Where in the USA is Carmen Sandiego. Got a big old map of the USA. And all over the map are different landmarks. You're trying to go to those landmarks, find out information about crooks. So the way you do that is you get one of these geography trivia questions. If you answer it correctly, that means you can move. When you move, if you move onto a spot that's a landmark, like here Elvis's guitar, you get to figure out that information right here. You're trying to find the crook, the warrant, and the loot of all the exact same color. Once you find all three of these colors, you win, but you got to go through all this and figure out where they all are. Yay, that's it. So that was Where in the USA is Carmen Sandiego.
We know.
She's in Gen Con. We got found it. This game was okay. It's one of those trivia geography games like any other one. But you know what? At least you have to find the crook and the loot and the warrant. At least you have to do all that.
And they do have a fun little challenge at the end about finding all the different capitals and putting them out as fast as you can for the
I like
states.
that. Yeah.
So you get to learn some stuff along the way. It's pretty good.
So Mike, where in the USA are we going to be?
We're going to be at Gen Con, dude.
We're going to be at Gen Con, so please come and say hi to us. One of the cool things we're doing a Brothers Murph meetup on Thursday night. We're going to have catered food. We're going to have live music, restoration games. We're going to be demoing Fireball Island there. They're going to do some giveaways.
We're going to be live streaming the whole thing on Twitch as well for people to watch at home. And the coolest thing about it is that it's going to be for charity. So the folks that run Moonshot Games have agreed to donate 20% of anything they make that night right to the Jack Vasel Memorial Fund. And we're committing to give 50% of anything that we might make on Twitch right to the Jack Vasel Memorial Fund. Come on down if you're in the area and have the night free. It'll be after the convention closes.
Yeah, that's it. And so until next time, we'll see you at Gen Con.
Dude, we'll see you there. I'm so excited.
Hey everyone, Chris Renshaw here, and it's been a while since we've looked at the RPG shelf, so I figured let's jump back into that. Specifically, this time we got into the good stuff, the D&D 5th edition books. Alright, here we are with the D&D shelf. I'm going to kind of breeze through some of these. Princes of the Apocalypse, you're trying to just stop a couple of elemental cults from raising a bunch of extra dimensional things. Out of the Abyss, you go into the Underdark and stop some demons there. Haven't played that one. Not shown here, Curse of Strahd. Great vampire themed game. We've got that lent out right now. Storm King Thunder. You're trying to stop some giants from stomping their way across the world. Tales from the Yawning Portal, which is a bunch of collection of infamous games from D&D's past, kind of redone for 5th edition. Then, of course, you've got your DMG, you got your Monster Manual, your Player's Handbook, Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, which is just some information on the Sword Coast, where a lot of the D&D adventures take place. Volo's Guide to Monsters, where you can get extra monsters and all sorts of different crazy stuff that's not in the monster manual. And you've heard me talk about Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Also on this shelf, got this Tales of the Wizard's Eye, which is a 5th edition module I backed on Kickstarter. Dungeon Crawl Classics, which is a game that emulates old school D&D that I've not had a chance to play. And Dungeon Fantasy, which is part of the GURPS role-playing game from Steve Jackson Game, which is an old but classic game. Haven't had a chance to break into one. This is some really, really complex stuff. Of all the D&D adventures, I think Princes of the Apocalypse and Tomb of Annihilation, which is not on here, are some of my favorites, but you can't go wrong with most of these as long as they're not the Tyranny of Dragons over here. Pretty much anything else is fine. So there you go. That's what's on my D&D shelf there. Stay tuned for next time where we're going to do more dive. We'll eventually get through all these shelves. But in the meantime, make sure you follow me on social media. Make sure you download the Boards and Swords podcast for other great board game and RPG news. And until next time, may all your hits be crits.
Hey folks, this is Jonathan for This Is Broken. When I'm talking about a game I really like, but I think that something inside is either broken, overpowered, underpowered, or not balanced at all. And today's game is going to be Pursuit of Happiness. So bear with me, I'm going to show you what I think it's underpowered inside that game. Okay, the problem with that game is the rest action right here, because what it lets you move 2 spaces backwards on that stress track right here, but you cannot switch colors. So if you're here, you cannot move backwards at all if you're here just once, and that's a problem, because in that game the stress is a big part of the game, and you get a lot of items, cards, and activities that's gonna give you one movement backwards. So you're not gonna do that often. Maybe once. I'm not even sure I'm gonna push it to twice a game. And if you're unlucky enough, you can have that card right here, the start of the game, that's gonna give you a little bonus. When you do a rest action, you're getting a resource of your choice. But if you not do the action, this card is useless. So if you're stuck with that card at the start of the game, then you're tough luck. You're not gonna be able to pull that bonus that often. And it's not only that. Here, when you gain a heart, you can move to another color there. It's the only way, but there's only 5 to 6 cards in the game, and they're all project related. I might be mistaken, it may be another card right there, but if you're lucky enough that on your turn you have what it takes to take one of the cards there, and it's gonna give you a heart, then you might be the big winner, because those hearts lets you have more action pawns to do on the next right away, so you're going to be able to do more actions. So that's a little bit weird than the rest action. You can switch colors. I know that they wanted another symbol that the heart lets you do that, but because there's only 5 opportunities in the game to do it, I think it's a little bit weird. It's not unbalanced, but it's not great at all, especially if you're stuck with the card I just showed you before. So thank you for watching. See you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Hi, Mike Delisio from Solomode Games. Gen Con week. I'm very excited. It's my local convention. And I just wanted to say quickly before I get started, if you're coming to the convention, please come by the Dice Tower booth. I'll be there quite a bit and I'd love to see you. I'll also be doing some after-hour shenanigans with the Brothers Murph and Matthew Jude. So hopefully, if you'd like to meet, we'll get a chance there at the convention. So, keeping up what I've done the last couple of years, I want to talk about my top 5 most anticipated solo games at Gen Con. I'm also going to have a little ticker running somewhere here on the screen of games that I already own, that I am interested in, that are already there, but I've got them already. So these are games that should be for sale that I don't have. Number 1, Founders of Gloomhaven, and these aren't in any order. This is a game that is obviously in the world of Gloomhaven, a game that I have an odd relationship with. I like it, I think, but I don't play it very much. This one seems really in my wheelhouse. The Reckoners. I knew very little about this game up until very recently. I did look at the Kickstarter when it first came out, but apparently it's based on a book series by Brandon Sanderson. The components look amazing, and so I've gotten more interested as time has gone by. Spring Meadow. Yeah, of course. I've got to finish the Uwe trilogy, the Polyomino trilogy of Indian Summer here, and Cottage Garden. Spring Meadow finishes it out. The Big Score, a game by Van Ryder Games. I got a chance to look at it briefly at Origins. It looks terrific. I love the theme. I'm interested to see how this one works out. And then finally, Root from Leader Games, another asymmetrical game in the kind of that feel that Vast had, where everyone's playing a slightly different game with an overarching theme. The art, I mean, look at this art. It's amazing. So I definitely want to check that out. So there you have it. My top 5 most anticipated solo games at Gen Con. What do you want to see? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.
Happy breakfast, everybody. Now, in the UK here, we're currently having a bit of a heat wave and everything's looking a bit parched. So why not talk about something that goes on in a desert? And that is sailing toward Osiris. The aim of the game is effectively to build monuments to honour the dead pharaoh. And now, this is actually based loosely upon sort of real-world events when I think it was Ramesses the 11th had died, he didn't have a successor, and effectively the person that built sort of his tomb and did stuff for him became the new pharaoh. Now, you are going down as the pharaoh's barge moves down the Nile, it opens up new worker placement slots that allow you to gain resources, and then on those same spaces, if they're unused, you're building obelisks, sphinxes and pylons. Now you're visiting cities, doing cards, and it's all kind of drenched in theme. There's even camels. The theme is certainly there. The problem for me is there's a few elements of randomness. There's also 10 actions you can take. Now, it feels like the game should be an entry-level game, so maybe they needed streamlining, because there's a few, like the caravan action with the camel, that allows you to just sort of say, right, I was the first one to this caravan, anyone else that goes there, I get a resource from them. It's not really needed, and it doesn't really add anything to the game. So they should have maybe toned the number of actions down. So you actually draw your workers from a bag. And there's also city cards. Now, I've won a game of this by simply top decking the right cards. It really felt like I cheated my opponent out of a victory, which isn't exactly the best feeling for a game. Anyway, I didn't think too much to this one, but that is Sailing Toward Osiris. And I'm Oliver East, signing out.
An interesting thread popped up across my Board Game Geek subscriptions this week, which was an old one from 2015. And it brought back something I talked about on Board Game Breakfast back then called Reviewing the Reviewers. And we talked about reviewers responding to other reviews, etc. I want to talk about that a little bit today, but to talk about reviewers responding to their own reviews. So over the past couple months, I've reviewed a lot of games. I review a lot of games, and I like most of those games. You can go back and look at the ratings for the games that I've done, and you will easily find that most of the games that I've reviewed, I have enjoyed quite a bit, or at least a bit. There are some reviews that I do not enjoy. There are a lot of reviews that I've said these aren't good. There are some reviews that I said are pretty bad. I know how many bad reviews I've done because of the comments that are on them, because of the email responses that I get from designers and publishers. I've gotten, I think, a record number of those in the past month from different designers and publishers. When I review a game, I review it, negative, positive, we go on. And sometimes there's rebuttals to my reviews that are posted below them. I don't usually respond to those. And some people have said, well, you should respond. And so there's this back and forth. Well, sure, but here's why I don't for the most part. Mostly because I've already said my points. Don't get me wrong, I believe in the back and forth. I think that's useful. That's why we do it on things like Miami Dice. Where last week Sam and I, we didn't agree on Rise of Tribes, but we were able to give our points back and forth to each other. And obviously Sam is with the voice of the people on that one. So I like that back and forth. That back and forth doesn't work as well on the internet. I feel like here I've made my points. Some people say, you missed this, you should have thought about this, this is the point you didn't make, and that's fine. And then I can let other people come in. I don't normally want to go back in and keep these things going on forever and ever. I'm not there to necessarily justify or defend my review. I do the review, and then I see what folks think of it. And another reason is just sheer time, right? People say, how do you do as much as you do? Well, I don't type a lot of responses on the internet. I go in and I work really hard on these reviews, and I do think very carefully about them. I play a game. I always tell people I play a game enough, how many times I think I need to play it before I put it out. I might talk to some people about the review. There's been occasional times where I've called designers and talked to them about the game before I review it. I sit there and I read the rule book carefully before I do a review. Then I do the review, I say the review, we edit it, we post it, and I'm done. I'm moving on to the next thing. I don't mean to keep dwelling on these, especially if I don't like a game. I don't mean to keep going, well, this is why I don't like it. I don't think it's necessary for me to pop up every time someone says they like something to go, but I don't. Now, we might do that for fun on our top 10 list that we do back and forth, or on my audio podcast, we'll go back and forth. But, hey, there are a lot of disagreements with my reviews. I mean, a lot. If I do a negative review, it will get twice the number of comments than if I do a positive review. And I've always missed something, or said something wrong, or done something, what have you. And you know what? I don't delete those comments. I leave those comments there, because if you think that I got it wrong, essentially, that's fine. That's another viewpoint, and I want people to see both of the viewpoints that they go into there. I'm not trying to silence it and say this is the only way to think about a game. Definitely not. And sometimes even I've done negative reviews, and then I know someone else in the Dice Tower likes the game a lot, so I'll encourage them to do a positive review to balance it out, because I think we should have different voices on our things. It's tough. I talk to some of the other reviewers, we talk back and forth sometimes, and when you do a negative review, the comments that come in and you want to go, I will defend myself. But you know what? It is what it is. I mean, I think that it's okay if a game designer or a publisher comes in and says, well, you got my game wrong, Vasel, and here's why, and they put it back. And then they give an alternative thing. I think it's even more useful when someone who's not involved with the project comes in and says, hey, Tom, I disagree with you, and here's why. But if you wonder, and ever wonder, why doesn't Tom respond to those? Because I don't want to argue that much, first of all, but I don't have time, secondly, and I just think it's productive. Here's one viewpoint. Here's another viewpoint. Now, you guys, as the watchers of the videos and the reader of the comments, you can decide.
What's up, everyone? I'm Danny.
And I'm Derek. And this is You Bet Your Bippy.
In this segment, we're going to give you some fun facts about a specific game so you can strike up a conversation at your next game night. And this week's game is...
Ring! The Networks.
The Networks is a card drafting based game in which players take control of a new television network as they try their best to recruit popular stars, have lucrative ads, and have different genres to make their network stand out. Hey, Derek.
Hey.
Did you know that when the TV was created, the first TV remote that came out was in 1950?
1950, all right.
That's not too weird, is it?
No.
You know what was the weird part? The first remote was actually connected by a wire.
Oh.
So it wasn't really, it was kind of a remote, but...
Kind of a remote, but not really.
But yeah, the wireless remote didn't come out until 1955.
Hey, Danny, did you know the first television commercial was broadcasted in July 1st, 1941? It was before a baseball game, and guess how much it cost to run?
$5,000?
$9.
$9.
But for 1941, that had to be some money.
Well, did you know that the popular television network MTV aired on August 1st, 1981?
Ooh.
Yeah. And do you happen to know what the first music video was?
It wasn't Katy Perry, was it?
Good gosh, no. It was Video Killed the Radio Star by the Bugles.
Really?
You bet your bippy.
How appropriate. Did you know that Miss Betty White has been on television since 1949? She first started her first sitcom called Life with Elizabeth at 1953, and now, at 92, she's on Hot in Cleveland. 92.
What a queen.
What a queen. Now, did you know any of these fun facts about network television? Or do you have any fun facts of your own you'd like to share with us? Please do so in the comments below.
And make sure you guys follow us all over social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
And we will see you next week. Happy breakfast.
Happy breakfast.
Welcome to The Pitch.
Ilka?
Oh, Dave.
Hi. It's so hard to get our son away from the phone. He's always playing some kind of app, playing some kind of game.
And we're doing a good job to limit it to 30 minutes a day.
30 minutes a day, that's it. How great would it be if your son would find on your phone a board game that gives him the experience of playing a game on your phone? But it's not, it's a board game.
Okay.
It's called Jetpack Joyride, a game he's always playing, trying to beat the high scores, but now you have that experience at the table.
Okay.
It's on Kickstarter now, and it's only got a couple of days left, so I was thinking of backing this Kickstarter project.
For our son.
For our son.
Well, I can't say no then, right? And it looks pretty cool.
It does.
Yeah, looks like a cool experience. And we're on holidays? Yes, it's a yes.
Jetpack Joyride coming to the Lusa household.
2019.
March.
Hi, I'm Hugh Mello.
And I'm Gabby, and this is Time to Play.
And what did we play today?
We played Fuse by Kane Klenko from Renegade.
Yeah, it's a game for 1 to 5 players, and it plays in exactly 10 minutes. So it's a rolling dice, real-time game, and every player gets 2 cards, and we have a set of cards in the center that we have to keep drafting as we finish. So the idea is to defuse those bombs and put the numbers in sequence and stack them up, or having different numbers, and all the other things that you have to do on the card in order to defuse the game. So how did you like the game?
I liked the game a lot. It was really fun, and the intensity was really nice. I really liked the intensity.
Yeah, Mom in particular was like picking up things and put it right away, and we were like crazy going around.
Our heads were like about to burst, but my mom was just like, here,
I can use that. I can use that. Oh, you already fused my bomb. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
So is that kind of game that you like to play?
Yes. This is my first real-time game, actually, and I really liked it.
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember having play any other like that. So there you go. So 2 thumbs up?
2 thumbs up.
Alright, that's awesome. So this is Fuse from Renegade, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Happy breakfast, everybody.
Bye. See you around the table.
It's your turn.
Ooh. Hi guys, I'm Ellen.
I'm Randy. Welcome to Games Just Played.
Before you freak out about your screens, thinking, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with them. There's not. We're going low tech tonight because
it's been a hectic week. Photo shoots,
we're tired and
weddings,
lazy.
Editing.
Yeah.
Put up a swing.
Yeah, that took way too long to do. But anyways, we wanted to make a video anyway, so here it is. Tonight we're talking about the Quest for El Dorado. It's a deck building game of perilous paths, and what does it say?
And rewarding
riches. You're so tired. This is a great game. We had a blast with it. I saw it a lot on Facebook, and it looked, I wouldn't say intimidating, but it looked hard, and I kind of was afraid of that, and we went ahead and tried it. It was a lot simpler than I thought.
Yeah, I knew going in it was going to be a more simple game.
He knew that.
It's like Ellen said, it's a deck builder. But what sets it apart from our other deck builders is it's actually a racing game also. So you're playing cards as you're moving your character along a modular board, and whoever gets to the end first wins.
Yeah, I think we played it 3 times now. One time with our 9-year-old son, and he was like fully grasping it. So it is simple, but the choices you have to make can be difficult at times, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. With 2 players, you get to play 2 different pawns, so you can kind of use those pawns together to help each other out, block other people at the same time. Yeah. So it really plays really well at 2 players.
Really well at 2 players.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be printing me some pink components.
Of course,
because
it's going to be pink.
My Explorers must be pink. But anyways, yeah, and also here's the photo for the day. It's me with knights. How cool is that? We went to a Renaissance fair, and I was feeling pretty cool at this moment.
Yep, at the Bristol Renaissance Fair in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yep, super fun. You guys have a great week. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, my name's Dan, and this is Cora, and we're here today to talk to you about board games for young children. And today we're going to talk about
Colour Fox.
Colour Fox. You're getting very quick these days. We're going to talk to you about Colour Fox. Colour Fox is a card-laying sort of dominoes type game where the players are trying to collect sets of different coloured matchsticks by connecting to other cards in a grid on the table. The colours of the matchsticks have to match up on all sides, which can be trickier than it might sound. However, if you do manage to match up more than one side of the card, you also get to steal a match from the other players, which is very satisfying. You get points at the end of the game depending on how many matches of different colours are in your sets, and the most points wins. So Cora, what do you think about Colour Fox?
It's like really hard because I can't go there, can't go there, can't go there, can't go there, can't go there.
It is really tricky, isn't it? You have to look at all your cards and try and work out.
I'm like,
Oh, I've only got 4 cards. I've got rubbish cards.
Yeah, there's a bit of look to it as well. I really like the box. It's by Helvetica, and I know I go on about Helvetica a lot, the design company, but I just think their aesthetics are wonderful. It's a matchbox. It's a kind of game that feels very classic.
It's the second hardest game I've ever faced.
It's the second hardest game she's ever faced, and I think that's because you had to think a lot, didn't you?
I know.
You had to think a lot, and you were thinking.
But, and then we ended up drawing.
We
could decide in rock, paper, scissors.
We could just decide rock, paper, scissors. Yeah, that's what we should have done. So.
Let's do it now.
Okay, ready? Rock, paper, scissors. Yeah! So, we give Colour Fox. What kind of thumbs up?
Try to find where to go.
2, trying to find where to go. Thumbs up.
That's it for another board game breakfast. Woo! No Tom is wrong this week because I got time. I'm going to Gen Con. You can come just tell me I'm wrong there. You know what? That is something to do. You know, people always come up to us. They're like, I don't know what to say. So they always say, are you having a good time at the con? They say, what's the hot game of the con or whatever. You can come up to me and say, Tom, you said this and you're wrong about this. That's okay. That's something interesting. We can talk about that. So there you go. Come on up and talk to us there. We look forward to saying hi to many of you. For those of you not going to Gen Con and taking part of Gen Can't, have a fantastic week doing that. Don't feel like you're missing out on this big, gigantic convention. We'll try to bring you as much news, as much videos as possible. We'll be recording a lot of stuff there and posting it when we get back so you can feel like you're there. And all the fantastic, wonderful games that will be released at Gen Con will be released through stores and such as time goes by, so you have a chance to get them, and we'll help point out the ones we think are best or not. So come by and see us. Come back later today for a live Q&A. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast.
Thanks for watching
on the
Board
Dice
Game
Tower.
Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff in stock at CoolStuffInc.com.